Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at my second Dorian tropical update, and right now it is a category 5 with wind speeds above about 185 to 190 miles per hour. It's currently over the northern Bahamas, and it's currently impacting parts of Freeport and parts of those northwestern Bahamas. It's just been sitting over the same area for over I believe 8 to 12 hours right now, and it's gonna stay there for about another 6 to 12 hours. So it's just gonna be a horrible combination. And rainfall totals could reach up to 20 to 30 inches, and storm surge could be over 20 feet. So just a horrible combination of things just going all over the northwestern Bahamas, and then most likely moving anywhere from North Carolina to Florida, those category 5 or 4 wind speeds. So let's get right into this. First, we're going to look at the cone of uncertainty and the watches and warnings. So we have in the red, you have hurricane warnings. So that's anywhere from eastern Florida around Daytona Beach area and then into those northern Bahamas. Then we have tropical storm watches for just, I believe, north of Miami. And then we have hurricane watches, and that's for parts of Jacksonville and all of those northern cities on the coast, on the east coast of Florida. Then we also have tropical storm watches. That's in the yellow, so that's for right around the Miami area, maybe just the tiniest bit north of there. Here's the cone of uncertainty. So this is where the eye of the storm could be anywhere in this cone, and we see there's a lot of models that have this going out to sea, and then there's a lot of models that have it coming closer to the shore. This storm has just been so unpredictable, so we really don't have a very good understanding of where this is gonna go, because even though we're still only 1 to 3 days out of it making landfall somewhere on the U.S. mainland, we don't know where it's gonna make landfall, and that's the biggest concern, because people are getting a false sense of security because they think it's not gonna hit me, it's gonna hit Florida or something like that. But in reality, we don't know if it's gonna hit somewhere in Long Island or if it's gonna hit in Florida. We really don't know right now. And then also we have these letters on it. It means the M stands for major hurricane, and then the H stands for just hurricane. And if the H stands for 1 to 2, category 1 or 2, and then major hurricane stands for category 3 or above. So for one last thing, I just want to look at the timing. So 2 a.m. Tuesday, it's almost getting onto the Florida coast. 2 p.m. Tuesday, it's around the Florida coast, could be making landfall by this time. 2 a.m. Wednesday, getting closer to Jacksonville, and then 2 a.m. Thursday. This is 2 a.m. Wednesday, this is 2 a.m. Thursday. It's getting closer to the South Carolina and Georgia coast. Could actually be making landfall, depends on what model you're looking at. And then 2 a.m. Friday, we're right around North Carolina and some of those Outer Banks. And then around 2 a.m. Saturday, this is when we get very uncertain. We don't know if we're gonna see a track somewhere like this, or somewhat like that, or somewhere like that. So if we do get a track like closer to the shore, that could be very bad. We could see tropical storm winds if it does go closer to the shore, but that's very far out, and we're gonna have to get closer to the event for me to make a definitive statement. Here's the model intensity. So right now we're at a low category 5. And most of the models have it getting out of category 5 status and then into the category 4, and then gradually getting into tropical storm, and then not even a tropical storm later into the week. And that's because the models are picking up on it getting closer to land, and once it gets closer to land and it's not over those warm waters, it's going to stop intensifying, and then rather it's going to start de-intensifying. But some models have it keeping it just enough off the shore that it's going to stay in a category 4, a high-end category 4, or a low category 5 for this entire period. This would be a bad scenario because it would be close enough to the shore. These models have it close enough to the shore to make impact with the U.S. mainland, but not close enough to the shore that it would be de-intensifying. So that would be our worst case scenario right there. Here are the model track guidance, and you see there's a couple models that have it going closer to the Jersey Shore. That's what we have to watch out for in the coming days. It going closer to New Jersey, New York, Long Island, Connecticut, all of those coastal states in the Northeast where they're not as prepared for the system. That's what we have to watch for. But we most of the models have it hitting right around eastern Florida, eastern Georgia, eastern South Carolina, and then most of them have it actually hitting the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Now we're going to look at the GEFS tracks. This is an ensemble model, so it has many members, and that's what you're seeing right now on your screen. You're seeing all these members and what they track. The GEFS has it off the shore a little bit more, and they also have more of a definitive idea of where this is going to go. They think it's going to go closer to Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina, and then as soon as it goes there, it's going to continue in a straight line, and then hopefully it goes off to sea there. And now here's the GEPS tracks, and this is another ensemble model. It's less reliable, but I did want to show it to you because sometimes these actually are correct. So we have with the GEPS, we have a lot more going on to sea. Anywhere where you see those yellows, that's where it's not intensifying anymore. It's just on land, and it's stopped intensifying. And but we do still have a lot that are off to sea, and that would be a big problem because most of these models that are off to sea are actually close enough to where it would make impacts with the U.S. Mainland, but still have those Category 4 and 5 winds. Here's the rainfall total. So we have anywhere in that pink or purple, 15 to 20 inches plus, and then in those red and orange, we have 6 to 15 inches, and then in the yellow we have 4 to 6 inches and 1 to 4 inches in those greens. So if you're in that orange, which actually is for parts of the Bahamas and parts of eastern Florida, eastern Georgia, even eastern South Carolina, and then eastern North Carolina, if you're on those coastal areas in any of those states, you have to be watching out for excessive rainfall. You could see 6 to 10 inches of rainfall, which could definitely flood a lot of low-lying communities. Then we also have that yellow, which is 4 to 6 inches. Definitely don't take that with don't underestimate how much 4 to 6 inches can do to your community. Some of those low-lying communities definitely could be flooded by 4 to 6 inches, but not as much flooding as those 6 to 10 inches or 10 to 15 inches plus areas. And then anywhere in that green, that's a 1 to 4 inch rainfall total. So definitely if you're in that darker green, I would look out, but not in that lighter green. That's just 1 to 2 inches. Shouldn't flood most places. Now here's the tropical storm force wind speed probabilities. Anywhere in those greens are 5 to 30% chance. So find your area. If you're in that green, you still have a chance of tropical storm force winds, which is above 36 miles per hour. Not 36 miles per hour. 60 miles per hour, I think. And then anywhere in that yellow, you're 30 to 40%, 30 to 60%. In the orange or red, you're 60 to 90%, and then in the purple, you're 90 to 100% chance of seeing tropical storm force wind speeds. So anywhere in those, I would say anywhere above 50%, you should definitely be watching out for this because you definitely could be seeing tropical storm force wind speeds. Now here's our hurricane force wind speed probabilities. It's the same key, so 5 to 30% is still. Green is still 5 to 30%, yellow is still 30 to 60%, and then orange and red is still 60 to 90%. Purple is 90 to 100%. So you see for parts of the northern Bahamas, we have 90 to 100% chance of tropical hurricane force wind speed, and that's because the Hurricane Dorian is right over those areas. I would say for the hurricane force wind speed, if you're above the 30% chance, you should definitely be watching out. But really, anywhere in the tropical or hurricane force wind speeds, you should be watching out. Maybe if you're a bit more north, don't start taking precautions just yet. See where the models take it, because we're still 5 to 7 days out from that, and it would be quite too far to definitely to say for sure where it's gonna go. Now here's the most likely arrival time of tropical storm force wind speeds, and you see uh, Florida is actually going to be impacted probably Monday 8 p.m. with tropical storm force winds right around that West Palm Beach area, right around Miami. Then Tuesday 8 a.m. You could more Central Florida, Daytona Beach, Orlando could be seeing tropical storm force winds. Let's fast forward to Wednesday 8 a.m. right around Georgia over here. That's where you could be seeing. I would say around Savannah, Georgia, you could be seeing uh, tropical storm force winds at 8 a.m. on Wednesday. 8 p.m. on uh, Wednesday, you could be seeing for the coastal communities like Myrtle Beach, I know could definitely be impacted by tropical storm force wind speeds by Wednesday 8 p.m. Thursday 8 a.m. and anytime in Thursday you're going to be impacted for parts of North Carolina and then parts of Virginia as well. And then Friday 8 a.m. This is when it starts to get a bit too far out for me to say. I'm still gonna include it. Friday 8 p.m. You could be seeing tropical storm force winds anywhere from Maryland all the way out to sea over here. And then Friday 8 p.m. the storm will should have moved out almost into Nova Scotia up here into Canada. Now here's the flash flood risk over the next 3 days. So over on the side, this is your daily flash flood risk, just summarized for that one day. So we're gonna first start off with a summarized one. You have the greatest flash flood risk, a 20% chance, a moderate chance of flash flooding if you're in anywhere in southern coastal communities of South Carolina. And then in that yellow, you're 10%, you're a slight chance. That's for almost all of the eastern coast of Florida, almost all of the eastern coast of Georgia, all the eastern coast of South Carolina, and then parts of it, the southern coast of North Carolina. That's where you could be seeing slight risk of flooding for the just summarized for the entire 3 days. And then in the marginal risk, 5% in that green, you're just seeing a 5% chance of flash flooding, but it definitely could still occur if you're in that green area. Now, I just want to summarize these day 1, day 2, day 3 flash flooding risk. So day 1, you have a slight risk down for parts of West Palm Beach and around Miami. Then you have a 10% chance on day 2 for areas more to the north, so around Daytona Beach, closer to Jacksonville. And then day 3 is when we expect the most. Thursday morning, that's when we expect the most flash flooding, and that's where you could be seeing a moderate for parts of southern South Carolina. And then for Jacksonville, you're seeing a 10%, Savannah, you're seeing 10%, and then Charleston, you're also seeing 10%. So all these areas have a chance for flash flooding over the next couple of days. Here's the potential storm surge and flooding. So if these are a bunch, these dots represent these different amounts of storm surge. So you really see a lot of storm surge right around Georgia and southern South Carolina, where you could be seeing anywhere from 3 to 6 feet of storm surge and flooding, and then some areas could be seeing greater than 9 feet of storm surge in some isolated areas. I would not rule it out. I wouldn't be surprised if there's above 9 feet of storm surge in some isolated areas. Now I just wanted to show what different models are having, where the different models are having the landfall at. So this one, the HWRF model, is having it right, southern South Carolina is where it's expecting landfall. Then for the HWRF parent model, it's seeing right around southern Jacksonville, south of Jacksonville, right around Daytona Beach. Then the HMLN model has it closer to Daytona Beach as well. Then the GFS model has it closer to Daytona Beach as well. And then the European model has it all the way up into those coastal communities of North Carolina. So that wraps up my video today about not tropical storm, Hurricane Dorian, Category 5 right now. And please make your precautions. So get water, dry foods that will last a couple of days. Expect power outages. So charge all your electronics, buy batteries, and definitely make sure you have a couple flashlights on hand, and then have an evacuation plan. go to your local website, local evacuation plan website, and see where you should be evacuating from if you do have to. Anyways, guys, that was Eli the Weather Guy. I'm gonna leave all these links in the description if you want to check them out, especially the National Weather Service links. So if you want to check those out, you can just go click on the description and they'll be there. And that was Eli the Weather Guy, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.